In our first story this afternoon, management of Ghana Cocoa Board have been meeting with the leadership of cocoa carriers for an amicable solution to their indefinite strike. The series of meetings began this morning and are expected to end later today. The management, led by the Chief Executive, Joseph Boyne-Edu, is hopeful the issue will be resolved by tomorrow to enable the workers to return to post. The workers have been demanding a pay increase, a health insurance, and vehicles to convey them to their workplaces. The indefinite strike has the potential of affecting export of cocoa. Meantime, activities have come to a standstill at cocoa marketing companies' depots across the country as the strike by the cocoa carriers enters day 2. Here's our Tema correspondent, Kwame Anka.
According to the cocoa carriers, cocoa marketing company does not have their interests at heart, leading to their current condition. For them, nothing has been done about their condition of service in the last 5 years, and the strike is the only means to drum home their concerns. The strike, they say, could affect haulage of cocoa for exports. The angry workers say they are given a paltry 31 pesos for offloading, an additional 31 pesos for stacking, despite risks they are exposed to. Speaking to Joy Business in Tema, the cocoa carriers are asking for increment from 62 pesos to 1 cedi per bag.
When you come to pick one cocoa bag, and that they will give you 31 pesos, and at the end of the day, that cannot even buy you a pure water, common pure water to drink. How then do you take care of your families? How then will you now be able to take a car from wherever you are coming from?
If you say I buy no CMC4 first can be kind of I'm buying 1 cedi per 1 bag. Because cocoa you man can't buy you go them near Sanswa. If you can't buy we have 50 pesos. What's Sanswa cut up 50 pesos.
First now come to 62 pesos per bag, and we are then lay and load, which means laying only 31 pesos.
Yeah, you are crying uniform papa crying nibi. And never fire sika cotton tadia, abaya juma. Your poor Juma Cransona, your best out dry, and your coffee and nibi.
You best start to a food empty Yasima Kangram. I can't in Yabantin and you go to Queen's far away bastard. Then Johnny to send a from where they are back on to.
Well, next to the Ashanti region where similar protests were held.
I am here at the Ahonjo Cocoa Depot where workers, that is the cocoa carriers here, are demonstrating against what they term as the unfair treatment when it comes to their daily wages and other conditions of service. Well, let's speak to some of them to hear their concerns.
Irate cocoa carriers loiter around at the premises of the Cocoa Marketing Company, CMC. They had previously dealt directly with CMCs for their wage negotiations. However, the CMCs have contracted third parties with this responsibility. Carriers want the current 62 pesos for offloading a bag of beans increased to 1 Ghana cedis. Raymond Abanga is chairman of the Kumasi Cocoa Carriers Association.
Our concerns now is that we want the public and the government, led by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to hear our cry. We plead with the public that we, the cocoa carriers of Ghana, we are suffering and we need justice. We need fairness. Over 5 years now, we have been paid 62 pesos per bag. Over the 5 good years, there has not been increment. When we want to speak, they tell us that we are working with contractors. They are not paying us. They are not even the
The carriers are also worried about what they say are dangers associated with their work, as many of them reportedly fall ill after being exposed to chemicals. There are also concerns over work-related injuries in the face of poor salary.
My dangerous is even dangerous because the bag is 64 kilo and I carry it 2 times. I have to carry the bag. I have to remove 2,000 bags, and they have to sample it, send it to a lab, and come back before I will use that 2,000 bags and stack it to like a electricity pole. And even when you reach the house, you can't even sleep. Chemicals is in the cocoa. Chemicals is even in the cocoa. They are killing, and the chemicals is killing us. Last year, 10 of our carriers died. If you confirm more soldier training, some of them pass out to a
He said, I brought a few of my colleagues to work here with me, but they couldn't. Cocoa carriers want to directly deal with the cocoa marketing companies in negotiations for improved working conditions.
We don't want directors or mediators or contractors between we, the carriers, and CMC. We want the directors to give us way, or CMC to cancel the contract basis, and then we, the carriers, will work with them direct. We will be able to manage our own affairs, and operation will go on smoothly, in good harmony.
Though the cocoa marketing company has refused to speak to us, well, the cocoa carriers say they are not going back to work till they reach an agreement with the authorities. From Kumasi for JoyNews, Mona Lisa Frimpong reporting.
And as we have been reporting this afternoon, there is a meeting going on between the management of Ghana Cocoa Board and the leadership of the cocoa carriers there for an amicable solution. We will report when we have word of the outcome of that meeting. Away from that, ratings agency Fitch has expressed a neutral outlook for African banks this year as uncertain business conditions as COVID-19 risk constrains recovery. It is, however, anticipating a slightly faster rise in lending, with most economies growing at an appreciable rate. Fitch says the banks are likely to make mistakes in the pursuit of growth under prevailing operating conditions, which are fraught with challenges and uncertainty, predicting a return to normalization next year or a few years to come. Well, former managing director of Amal Bank, now Bank of Africa, Mensin Tokunu, has been reacting to this latest report from Fitch on African banks. He tells Joy Business many of the African banks operating in Ghana have made appreciable recovery from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic and therefore will make significant gains this year.
There was appreciable recovery. If you look at the third quarter performance, I believe that the banks are going to be building on it, and the financials that are going to be churned out by the end of the year, I think in a couple of months, is going to show that African banks are doing very well. For me, I am very, very much optimistic. Whenever a lot of people, especially non-Africans, are saying that Africans are lagging, I think they do not know what they are saying. We are making appreciable recoveries, irrespective of COVID. And you can agree with me that the expectation of the outside world against Africa for COVID-19, they were all disappointed. Even though businesses have been hit, I beg to differ that we are recovering. And especially 2022 is going to be a great year for African banks.
Well, but the risk of COVID-19 still lingers, because in recent times we heard there are new variants, and that could pose a threat to most economies on the continent. That is why basically the ratings agency might say that let's look a bit cautious in order not to give too much expectations going forward.
Okay, I think the Americans and the Europeans are having the effect of the new variants. If you look at the rate at which it's affecting Africa, and for that matter, splitting over our business activities, you realize that, I wouldn't say Africa is lucky, but I think we are doing very well in Africa, irrespective of the fact that we have some foreign banks. The banks are in Ghana and they are going to be doing very well. I don't think, for example, if ABSA needs assistance, of course, ABSA is already an African bank. Any Standard Chartered, okay, if they need any assistance to do big time credits, they will refuse them. I believe that we are going to make appreciable recovery, and the world is going to be surprised at the rate at which our banks are going to be making recovery, irrespective of the new variants that we are hearing every day.
Well, coming back to Ghana, we've seen some level of improvement in the general banking industry. I guess, despite the challenges the world is facing with COVID, what do you make of the Ghanaian situation? I mean, the Ghanaian banking industry.
Yeah, the only problem with the Ghanaian banks is how banks have done business with government, and government is constrained, as it were, and they are not paying them. But there are innovative ways of doing business. For me, I think if the banks concentrate on the SMEs, and they have very good checks and credit, ratings for them, I believe that they will do very well. Every economy thrives on the SMEs, and I believe that most of the banks, they have given more attention and more credit to the middle level, that is the SMEs. And I think that is where we are going to be making a lot of profit. Most of the banks are doing very well, I tell you honestly. When you look at, let's wait for a couple of weeks, the figures for 2021 are going to be out, and everybody will be surprised.
Should we expect a rise in lending for this year?
An appreciable rise. Well, there will be an appreciable rise. Banks, the business of banking is lending. I mean, if you put your money in treasury bills, treasury management, you won't get much. But it is lending. That is what is going to be the case. And banks know how to go after, their debtors when they lend them money. There is no bank that's going to be just throwing money away, but there is a way that there will be strict lending and control.
So what is generally the outlook of the banking industry vis-a-vis the business environment?
I know that banks could have been doing better, but because almost all businesses are constrained. But I believe that there will be an appreciable growth, even for 2022.
The thoughts of Menson Tokunu there, former MD of Amal Bank, now Bank of Africa. Now, digital currency analyst and president of the African Consolidated Exchange, Ian Muller, is urging African financial regulators to fast-track processes to regulate digital currencies on the continent. According to him, digital currencies like Bitcoin have come to stay and are receiving international recognition in many transactions, hence cannot be ignored. He made the call after launching the Consolidated Exchange platform for commodity and foreign exchange trade. Here's more in this report.
The Consolidated Exchange will serve as a primary platform for foreign exchange trading and commodity exchange for various minerals on the continent. According to the president, Ian Muller, regulating digital currencies will go a long way to help investors on the continent to gain more from the global financial market.
So you've seen cryptoization going on, massive adoption going on around the world. Right now, Africa is one of the leading regions of crypto, and crypto is a fact of life. It's here to stay. As you've seen in America already, the authorities there are now saying, hey, you know what, crypto is not going anywhere. We might as well start finding ways to regulate. And so here on the African continent, crypto is largely unregulated. We're going to be self-regulating, and we look forward to the day when the regulators open the doors for us to start putting in applications. But crypto is the future.
Mr. Muller believes that having a platform like the African Consolidated Exchange will support the quest for Africa to have some control on pricing of its mineral commodities.
The main inspiration really being that over the years I myself have been trading, and have been trading with various brokers, various markets. I picked up that we here in Africa are left out when it comes to making the financial markets what they are. We have situations where, for example, a great chunk, almost 1/3 or almost 40% of commodities that the markets trade globally come come from Africa. And we don't even participate in that market in terms of determining pricing, apart from just providing raw materials that are priced somewhere else. And so that was where everything came from. We're not going to change that overnight, obviously, we know that.
Mr. Muller said with steps taken to launch the ASEX platform, the company is of the firm conviction that over the next few years, the narrative will change and that this is what Africa needs at the moment.
And you're watching The Marketplace. My name is Darryl Kwao. We're taking a short break. We will be right back. And welcome back. If you're already broke in this month of January, one of the items you'd need to survive the period till your next pay certainly has to be a jar of Shito, the Ghanaian pepper sauce. Now, these are the times Ikuya Nixon will be glad she started This Is Shito. What started as a pastime after taking time off work has now become a full-time job. We bring you a repeat of this week's episode of the Joy Business Fan. Hi. Hello.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
You've got to sanitize.
Yeah.
Very important.
Very important.
This is Shito.
Yes.
All right. You're heading
towards the kitchen. Yeah.
All right. Up to you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So.
This way. Oh,
yes. So that's your apron.
Okay.
And your hairnet. All right.
Thank
and let me put on mine as well.
Let's get used to it.
I have my blended onion and ginger and garlic over here. And I cook with time as well. So I time everything just to make sure that the taste and quality is the same all the time.
You've got pepper, you've got shrimp, you've got your
fish powder. These are my spices, tomato puree, and then my cooking oil.
That looks simple.
Yes, very simple.
The height of the COVID-19 pandemic, when people were doing all they could to hold on to their jobs, Ikuya Nixon, an internal auditor, decided to take a break and stay at home to take care of family. Guess you're wondering, what has it got to do with the pepper sauce Shito? Well, it was a pastime sort of. She used to make it for friends while she was working.
So when I came home during the COVID era, I came home and friends wanted Shito. And I said, well, now I'm not working, so you know the ingredients are expensive, so I will not be able to make it as frequently as I used to. And then one of them suggested that, then why don't you sell it to us? I said, no, I feel too bad to do that. She said, no, just do it.
Just do it. Those were the words that got Ikuya in business, turning a pastime into a commercial venture.
So my first production, I just made 5 bottles. And I just called some few friends, I'm making Shito, do you want some? I'm making Shito. So I made them, I told them to come for it. And then they asked me how much. I was stuck, I didn't know what to say. So they priced it for me. And then that is how it started.
Word started going around on Ikuya's social media platforms about what she was doing. Her client base started to increase based on recommendation. And then she decided she would brand it This Is Shito. Okay. Everything?
Yes, please. You see some of the flakes of the fish in there because I make mine chunky.
That's what I love.
Yes. So.
Well, Shito is pretty ordinary. Anybody can make them at home. So what makes This Is Shito unique?
When you eat my Shito, you just taste every ingredient that is in there. And everything that you eat in there can be mentioned. You identify the ingredients you are eating, the spice you are eating, and then if I can stretch it, even the kind of oil I used. So it's plain, there is nothing in there, there is nothing strange in there for you to eat or for you to come back and say that, well, you ate it and something like you had an allergy or anything. Unless probably the basic ingredients in Shito, you are allergic to them.
Well, not me, no allergies at all. I love it. I love it. What was supposed to be a break from work has actually become the beginning of much more hard work. Ekuya shares her experience at the start.
It was quite difficult because I was used to being at work and being ordered around. And in this case, you have to get up. And the motivation is that people are calling you for orders. So now you have to do it. And I don't like to promise people and then fail them. So if I say Tuesday, that means I have to. So, and one thing I noticed about being by yourself is that whether you like it or not, you have to work. It's not like today, I don't feel like doing it or anything, because your money is going away and your credibility is going away too. So you have to meet expectation.
Hard work, consistency, key lessons for Ekuya for her startup, which is barely a year old. She's already started jotting down future plans.
I would love to go into authentic Ghanaian food. You know, the kind of smell and the taste that we miss. You know, these days food has changed. It's not like what we used to eat when we were young, the nostalgia. You know, when these days when you mention certain food, everybody comes back with, when I was young, it used to taste this way, and I want us to go back to that. So that is what I'm thinking of doing. So now everything is on paper and I'm trying to bring some friends on board as well.
Forgot to add, Ekuya is into spices too. Meantime, our Shito is done and it is time to package. The journey has not been all rosy. Ekuya has had her ups and downs during this period. She has had to deal with fluctuating prices of foodstuff and poor storage at our markets. However, Ekuya is determined to make this Shito a world-class product.
Trust me, when I was in the corporate, I could sleep, but now I'm always thinking and I'm always looking for feedback. I tell people that I don't want, I give it out and I'm always telling them like no, whenever they buy this, I send them messages and I tell them feedback is very important to me because that is what will make the business grow because we are growing it together. So feedback, so no matter how negative it is, I always take it so that I can make it better all the time. And I can see that I'm improving as the days go by.
Ekuya tells me she's motivated by family and friends. Well, this is Shito. And I'm pretty sure, like Ekuya, many of us, many of you watching would love to start your businesses this year. And you've got to think about building your brand. That'll be the subject for discussion tonight on Joy Business Social, our online weekly engagement. It will be across our social media platforms. We have Eko Mensah, founder and CEO of Tano, and Bernard Kelvin Clive, who is brand strategist, BKC Consulting. They'll be tackling the topic, building your brand. That's 6 p.m. Today across our social media platforms. And that's the marketplace. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.